welcome to Cade Friends podcast. I'm Cade, and I am joined by Arielle and Alex. How are you guys?
Looking a little rough, Jesus.
From my side, it looks great.
Thank you. I mean, it's just not translating well on these cameras, but whatever.
Most people
I look
probably
very
are.
jaundiced.
Well, yeah, the cameras are not great, and also the light, is not a flattering light source from directly
Thank
above.
you for all of this.
Yes.
If you want to help get us a new light, you can subscribe to our Patreon and listen to our mic check.
Our mic check was an experience this time.
It really was.
There's a lot of stuff.
So right now we have one goal, and that is to fill this hole next over to your left, Arielle. Fill it in with another red tile.
The level. Can you please just not say? It was.
There's a hashtag, Arielle.
It was so delayed, though. Our one goal is to fill this hole. And you looked at me and were like, it's over to your left, Arielle.
Oh, yeah, I can see how that could translate differently.
Yeah, I feel very unsafe.
I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, do you want the weighted blanket? We didn't ask about that in the pre-show.
Yeah. We've asked all of our guests before if they would like the weighted blanket. It's a very nice blanket.
It's pretty heavy.
How many of them have said yes?
Only one, but we can't say who it is because their episode will be later than yours.
Okay. And has anybody else given a reason why they've declined?
It's no. Would you like to give a reason that you're declining, or do you want?
Or maybe you want it. This is our first time asking you, so we wouldn't know.
No, thank you.
I must say, it's meant to add a layer of security and comfort. To make
Well, after what Alex just said, I should probably be taking it, but no thanks.
yeah,
Our primary goal is to fill a hole
yeah.
to the left of you, Arielle.
Yeah, I didn't. In my head, I thought Cade was going to continue it for me, and he did not. So I had to.
I was gonna let you do that.
I really thought we were going because we have a hashtag.
Is it fill the hole?
I think it might be.
Really don't think that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of problem with that one?
Yes. Good Lord. Just make my podcast audio. Okay.
Great. So,
Fix it in post.
Yeah, we can fix it. We'll fix it in post. Okay, guys. We do have Alex does have a soundboard.
We also have a live
Studio. What are you doing?
We have a live studio audience.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was nice. Thank you for waving and playing with the bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and.
Okay. So first off, let's introduce your Arielle. We know.
Why were you
Alex.
looking at me when you said that? I'm not Arielle.
You're Arielle.
I'm Alex.
I was hoping you would pick the reins a bit there. But I'll jump in here.
You failed me. I failed you.
First off, I guess let's just say how we know Arielle. Let's walk through that. How do we know
Ooh, and
Arielle?
first impressions of me. I think I want to do this.
We went to college together. Let's just say that we were all communications majors. Radio TV. Well, at the time, radio TV, and you were radio TV as well. Yeah. So we were all, which is now broadcasting in new media, which I kind of like claiming as my degree title. I like
Instead of
radio TV, because I. Not going to use that, but like new media sounds like, I mean, I work in the digital media space, so makes sense. I like saying that. I broadcast. This is being broadcast now live, or not live, but
Coming to you live.
Ish.
live-ish. Yeah.
So we had the
So first impressions.
First impressions.
I honestly don't remember, but knowing myself at the time before you, I probably was just like, she's a little combative or something.
What a trope, Alex.
Yeah.
My first impression of Alex was just like, excuse me, I'm so sorry, Alex, but I was like, he's a fucking idiot.
Wow, you were worried that you were going to be offensive to her, and now she just called you an idiot.
But
That's
I know,
fair.
I said I used to think he was an idiot, a fucking idiot.
First impression.
But now I don't. And we were a lot younger at that time, and I was an older college student, so I was like, I don't know, like 25. You were like what, 18?
Probably at that point 19, because that was my
Yeah, we didn't have
Alex had hair like as long as this, and like
because Alex,
it wasn't really clear if he showered.
I did.
I
still do that.
One of my favorite conversations that we had. This is a little bit off topic, but this is well into our friendship. But because Alex was trying to like talk him into getting a different haircut, to cut his hair short, and he's like, "No, I like it. I like this long hair." And you can see that in our movie Ribbon if you want to see what Alex used to look like with the beard and the hair and everything. And really clearly, Arielle, it's like, well, if you could just clue me in what you're trying to go for, I could help you.
Did you answer?
I don't think so.
Did you have? He was so attached though.
Yes.
I do. I liked the long hair. I don't remember why. I don't know, something about it. I just really enjoyed the long hair and just how it felt and like how wavy it is. And
tell me you're not getting more action with the ladies now that your hair is shorter.
Once I got my hair cut, I did find myself in significantly more relationships.
Yeah, I told
you. There you go. She said that.
I did.
A lot of people told me that, and it wasn't until I went to Disney and I had to cut my hair and then.
Do they? Is that now still the policy there?
I don't think men are allowed to have long hair still, but it's definitely a lot more relaxed.
But there was no facial hair thing too.
When I first started,
which is exclusive.
When I first started, there was no long hair, no facial hair, and then as I was there, they let you have facial hair. But you had to have it already grown out, and then they've made it where it could grow, it would be okay to like grow out on this like while working. And now I think they're allowing more color because one of their keys is now inclusivity. So Disney's trying to be more inclusive.
Arielle, he'll comment on that.
Them and everyone else.
Yeah. Great.
So that's one of your favorite memories. What is one? I don't know.
So what was your first impression on Cade? I was a fucking idiot. What was Cade?
I immediately loved Cade. Like once we actually started talking, I really enjoyed our friendship. He's obviously very intelligent. Oh, I know what my favorite moment with Cade is. You're going to hate me for saying this.
Before we get to that though, I'm going to say what it is. I honestly don't know what it is, but we'll get to it. I'll let you whatever do that. It might get cut out. Who knows?
You're gonna cut it. I know you are.
But my first impression of Arielle. So Arielle was in, I believe it was the Dr. Cruz class, but all those were very close to each other, all those classes. But like, I thought Arielle was incredibly intelligent too. She brought up a lot of good points in class and everything. She wasn't, I like that she wasn't scared of like going against what the consensus was and wasn't scared to just sort of like say what her opinions are and then you're just gonna have to deal with it, like it's like it would be in like direct conflict. Someone has just like said that they wholeheartedly believe this to their core, and then like Arielle will be like, I disagree. And they would love
that about me.
And like they, and like normal people would be like, wow, this person just like, really like, it feels like if I said I disagreed with them, it would like hurt them because of how much they just said that they cared about this thing. But no, Arielle did not have that where she stopped herself from doing it.
And that might have been why I thought at the time, it was like, she's combative. She just outing all these people.
Yeah, well, like there was a lot of like racism, white supremacy, and privilege at RSU that I was just like, eh.
You did it to me, and I did not like it at first, but sure. you had a profound impact on my life for the better. And so I like to think I honestly attribute a lot of my change to you and the conversations we had because
I think Cade was doing a lot of behind the scenes work too.
Okay.
He definitely did. But like, I don't think if you had been there, it would have been as profound. Like, I'm sure like it would have like continued, but I think you helped rocket it up because you definitely like made me reevaluate a lot of the things I had thought. And just like a lot of things where I was like, that's not me. And then upon further reflection, I was like, oh boy, that might be me. And so you were very patient with me because I made mistakes and you just looked at me like, Alex, no, not okay. And then you would like explain to me why, and you were very patient with me. And I think I needed that. And I do not have nearly as much patience as you do, which is probably my flaw. And because like I'm very just say it, and then I'm like, well, you're stupid if you don't agree with me. Whereas you were like, you're stupid, but here's why, and let's go through the process. And I never like, I don't explain. And so you're very good at speaking. I know like before we started, Cade said you were very good at speaking. And so I think your patience, and then you are very good at like speaking and getting your point across, and you're persuasive as well. And so I think that helped me.
I'm joking.
Great. So that's.
I wanted you to know that I've been waiting to tell you that for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Like
Arielle. Just be clear. When we started this podcast 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, as a concept, and then recorded some, we were like, we knew that you were going to be one of our first guests. In fact, technically speaking, she might be our actual first, chronologically as this was released, first guest on the show.
Why me first?
Because one thing you'll see later, there's a segment that was recorded before all the other ones, and so chronologically you have to be first. But also because of how much you matter to us. That's the nice one to say. It's because you matter so much to us.
I really want to know what this segment is.
You're gonna regret knowing this segment later.
The more we do it, the more I'm like, did this age as well as we thought? But we can't stop doing it at this point.
We can't, and we don't exactly. Well, what's fascinating is I guess they would have saw that from episode 2. But this will be the first time that they'll be seeing, because you have to think of how the audio. We've recorded some of these after Arielle's, so that will be coming out after Arielle's. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how this segment goes. But whether people enjoy it or if it's a nerve-wracking segment live.
Oh, I'm not afraid. I'm not worried at all. Like I don't have 1 ounce of fear.
Okay, great. We started having these different conversations here and there, and then it became, I think, a really good friendship. Then we started working at the radio station together.
Yes,
and I think that had a big impact on it. I guess there was really nothing that Alex was. We were I guess just tied through because I was friends with Alex, I guess, and then you.
Yeah, that's definitely how we and I started. It was not just like organic. We saw each other on campus, had a great conversation.
No,
it wasn't that.
It was because of Cade.
Yeah. You want to go in our first segment?
Sure.
Okay, great. Let's do it. We're going into our first segment titled Lil Nicky.
We have custom made music.
Is it?
Yeah. That's actually Chrim, who made the music for Ribbon. I don't know if you remember that at all. You were in Ribbon.
Again, I only watched the parts that I was in.
Yeah.
Only because you said I got a laugh. But I have to say one of my favorite ones is the film that you're not crazy about because it was too RSU centric. I really love that whole thing. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is funny.
I'm so proud of, I got my favorite Zoom I've ever had in my life. Just when you leave and then I pan over to Cade and he just goes back to typing. And I just zoomed in.
So good. I cannot believe you won't show it. It's so funny.
I think I'm trying to remember. Maybe it's through hurtling through the cosmos. Some video of mine. You can get to it from the end card. So people go watch my videos if you want to find this. It's called Purely Coincidental is the name of it.
Hilarious.
And Arielle's the star of it. And
that's why it's my favorite.
and Alex plays 2 roles, right?
I'm the voice of one.
You were the voice of one, and then you were the guy.
I think my favorite is the scene that I'm sitting like on the table with my legs crossed like Kellyanne Conway.
Oh yes,
just like on my phone.
So this was the Cade. I like experimenting with different genres and everything, and there was different time periods. This was Cade's Trump administration takedown movie.
It's so good.
But it I don't know, that got to be, everyone had one of those, and it just kind of was. And then this is so specific to our university that like general audiences will not understand a lot of the jokes, and even people who went to the university would not understand some of it. And like it's so in the weeds with certain things that like I don't know, that was my problem with it.
My favorite scene probably in the entire thing is when you're just like
there's a lot of scenes that I like.
Yes, that you're like, those mathematicians just don't understand numbers.
Yeah, that was my line.
They're going to divide the American and Mexican food line in the cafeteria.
Yeah, they're going to build a wall. Yeah.
What was my role in that?
So your role was you played you were a nominee. It was supposed to be like the nominee to, I believe that, like, no.
Yeah, you were the candidate, right?
No, he played the Donald Trump figure with just the voice because he wasn't ever seen. The Donald Trump figure wasn't ever seen, but he was.
I played a controversial.
You played a controversial guy who they were going to nominate for some sort of position.
Was there a bathroom scene in that I'm remembering?
Yes. So the opening of the thing, the opening of the video is where you're cross like on the thing, and then your boyfriend at the time was the news reporter on the screen, and it's announced that his name was Ronald. It was something, like, I don't know, but it was pretty obvious. Everyone was like, but like people would still be like, oh, I got it. It's like, well, yeah, of course you had to get it. It was pretty blatantly obvious what we were doing there. But it was announced that he won RSU. In this universe, they elect the university president, I guess, in some sort of voting way, and he surprisingly won this, and so it's all his campaign staff then transitioning to be these people that work for him, and them like navigating the controversies and the early. So it's essentially like the first 100 days of the Trump administration, but then filtered through this university lens.
It's so funny.
And so yeah, there's the scene that we go into the bathroom, which is where the president is, and that's Alex is playing that, and we're like, what, handing things underneath the stall? We have like some paper.
Yes.
And so I played. I guess we'll just give away all the because it was a satire, I get, but I guess it was clear who everyone was. You were the Kellyanne Conway type person. I was the Steve Bannon type person. Alex played the Donald Trump, and then later he played, I guess it was kind of supposed to be like a Jeff Sessions or
it's crazy, like when that was made at the time, that was before all of the changes, so I'm not even sure people will be able to keep up.
Yes, you're right. Well,
with all this, they're like, okay, so which era, like which part of the Trump administration? Oh, the very beginning. People,
and it's weird, like you could have followed this through and did a whole bunch of these with like and filter through, and that was, I think, maybe one idea was perhaps going back and doing it, because I still think if you tell that if they're going to make movies about the Trump administration in the future, and that's going to be a thing and a genre and all that, but your point of view person, which I knew immediately, your point of view person for that whole story is Kellyanne Conway. That is the most fascinating person in the whole Trump administration, because she's there for it all. She's the one who stayed, and yet she was the one who like compromised her morals, and like it just like she was like this cockroach who survived like the apocalypse and was able to adapt and evolve, and just like was just existing, and like she just threw away her own sort of morals and things just to get to do the job. And she did the job well, whatever your politics are. I think she's was a horrible person for that, and the whole thing is horrible, but she did an extremely good job at what she committed to it. Yes.
She committed.
But Ethan plays the Sean Spicer character.
Yes, I forgot about that.
And best role.
There's a lot of things in it that I liked. Your guys' elevator scene. Where you and because like you and Ethan had a few scenes together as well. Like we would be together in scenes, and then you and Ethan would have scenes. And essentially the whole crux is you have these problems with this, and you're trying to, whether or not Kellyanne had that or whatever, but you had these issues of like, oh my God, I didn't think that I would actually cause this to happen. I was just, I wanted to sort of be close or whatever, and I just did everything. But like, then now I'm having to do this. And then she's having problems with how this is going. There's so many things with the Trump administration, but like, again, we're focusing on the 100 days. So it's like crowd size. That was a thing.
Yes.
And there was all these little tiny things that were like, you kind of remember like, oh yeah, that was a thing. But everything was so rapid fire during that time that there was 17 million scandals. But that was the first part of it. But I don't know. Some of it still holds up, but there's still things that are like, I just don't think people would understand that reference. Like, we have a newspaper reporter, and it's like from the Climate Progress or whatever. And so no one's going to know that, and no one's going to know the sort of NSU aspect of it.
Yeah.
The same reason you took down Clearly More and Claremore.
Claremore is also accessible for different ways if people want to see that too. But yeah.
Right. Great segment of Lil Nicky.
Sorry. Wait, what's Little Nicky's segment?
Chrim made the music. Shout out to Chrim.
That was a great segment. Thanks for Lil Nicky. Okay. So this is the segment of the show, Arielle, in which we're going to, because we explained it in a thing. So we're actually not going to explain what this is. You're going to listen to a pre-recorded segment that Alex and I did 2 years ago when we were supposed to start the show. Okay. So this is 2 years ago, Alex and I. This is, it's a pretty lengthy segment. You
can talk if you just need me. If you want to talk.
Oh,
wait.
Yes, let me.
Wait, so am I supposed to have commentary?
You can if you like.
Okay.
And so if you do, I can pause it. I will have the ability to pause it.
Yeah, I added that.
And so if you want to say something, I can just press the button, pause it for a moment.
You can say pause, and he'll pause it.
Okay.
And so you have the ability to do that. You can also just sort of react live, or whatever. So some things don't need to be a pause. Just to let you know, if you do pause it, it draws the segment out longer, and it's really perhaps the point just to get through it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
The more we do this segment, the more we were like, oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm excited to, because this is actually the first time that people are seeing this, perhaps besides the one that we did for Hannah, which was audio only. But this will be nice to, you get to see reaction, and I'm sure that Arielle will have some reactions. I think.
No pressure.
What do you think this is before you start? Oh, sorry.
I was just praying that it wasn't anything to do with hip hop or rap. It's called Lil Nicky. I was just like, please, God.
We're about to drop a hot new single here.
Jesus. Love it when white guys do that.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Hello, this is Lil Nicky. I'm Cade. I'm here with Alex.
I am here
2 years ago
with Cade.
And I don't think you're part of this episode.
Oh.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I don't
but-
think I'm here on this one.
But you're good.
Again, I wasn't supposed to be in as many Little Nickies
Or as many.
or in as many podcasts as I have been. I think I've only missed one or two at this point. So
Friends. We're both good friends with Arielle. And we're here to decide Arielle's a Lil Nicky. And
This is the part where I
Pause.
I think this is the
Wait, you're here to decide what?
you're Lil Nicky.
You're Lil Nicky.
You're here to decide that I'm Lil Nicky.
No.
No, you're Lil Nicky.
Me.
Your ownership of Little Nicky.
What is your Lil Nicky?
Yeah.
Lil
What
Nicky
is my?
Yes.
I was like, this is gonna go very poorly with black viewership. Okay.
No. It's
I think we explain it.
yeah. It should explain in about I hope 10 seconds.
Well, this is the part where I say hi to Arielle.
Oh,
right?
yes.
hi.
Hey,
Oh,
Arielle, how
sorry.
you
No,
doing?
not a video.
She can't really respond to you.
You said that.
Yeah.
You said that every other time.
Yeah.
But
Pause.
I hope you.
You can respond now. We've learned the ability to pause things. So yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Does everybody listen to this exact?
Not this specific one.
So
They
everybody
all have
has their own. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing well. I know you have some like things going on in Tulsa and
career.
In that's what I was trying to say. I couldn't think of the word career, so I was just like Tulsa. But no, I hope things are going really well. I like to see what you post, and it's nice.
You
to
posted
see
more
that,
back then.
As far as I can tell, you're doing pretty well. So I'm glad to hear that.
That's sweet. We were both really good friends with Arielle. Fun fact, we originally three of us were going to have a radio show at one point.
Oh my God, we got to talk about that. Now that's a tease for future things. We got to talk about our past radio or failed radio show.
Should we do it?
No, we'll remember it. We'll remember it. Someone, studio audience, someone out there, write that down.
Thank you.
They're all writing it down. Do you have sound effects of pencil a bunch of?
If I change it, doesn't it delete it?
No, never mind. Don't just
Jesus.
keep.
It would have been really interesting. And I hope for future episodes we'll have you in there with Arielle because I think it's an interesting dynamic.
I love Arielle.
Oh,
I do love Arielle.
Oh, you're here. So
That is sweet. Well, we're deciding her to Little Nicky here today.
I'm sorry, Arielle.
I'm so sorry.
Are you going to describe
But
it?
I do hope you'll at least have a chuckle out of this.
So the way this segment works
here we go.
is we are coming up with you a new nickname.
there we go.
And at the end of this, after we decide and talk through it all, you'll listen to it all and then you're going to either accept or decline our Lil Nicky. And again, I'm so sorry.
Pause.
So we couldn't just be called nickname. We had to give it a fun.
We had to give a nickname for nicknames. And we came up with Lil Nicky.
It's all bad so far. Has anybody else enjoyed this?
I think that it's an uncomfortable experience to hear people talk about you in the past tense and then be live with them 2 years later as they're also listening it to you.
So wait, did you guys already you pre-planned everybody that you were planning on having
Yes.
on the show? And so you recorded Lil Nicky.
Thank God nothing happened to any of us.
Yes.
Yeah, thank God.
So yeah, literally 2 years ago, we sat down and we were like, okay, we have this idea
You're like,
for
what's Arielle's Lil Nicky?
Yeah.
and we did that with what is Hannah's, what is Joseph's, what is
Can
Andrew.
I ask about their Lil Nickies?
You can literally only ask about Hannah's because that's the only one that's aired thus far.
Okay, so what's Hannah's?
Hannah's was Colin.
Did she accept?
She accepted it. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay. So are they all real names?
You're gonna have to see this, Arielle.
Shit.
This is I know I apologized in the thing 2 years ago, but I'm going to apologize again. This is a ride. So buckle up.
Sounds great.
Okay.
But it is what we do. This is what we do.
This is the segment. This is the segment.
All right. Arielle.
Arielle.
Okay.
Okay. So
How would you describe Arielle?
Arielle, I think she is so smart.
Oh.
She is such a nice person. I mean, like, she's so vocal in her beliefs, and I love that about her. She's sure of herself, and I love how passionate she is about everything.
Passionate.
She really truly believes in what she believes, and that's hard to
She
come
has
by.
I think she has a strong moral compass.
She does. Strong moral compass. What can we do with that, Alex?
Passionate or strong moral compass, and you go with strong moral compass. So three words. Strong moral
Could be your little Nicky.
Compass.
That's my Lil Nicky.
Compass.
Pos.
Maybe.
Strong pos.
Arielle.
Moral. Moral pos.
Moral and compass together.
We are now trying to string together words to give to you or a name for your little Nicky.
You say pause really weird.
Pause.
No, you didn't say it like that before, right?
No, not in the recording. He doesn't. It's like, I can't even do it.
Pause.
Pause.
I can't even do it.
Right.
It just sounds like could go. I'm like teetering on the edge of like, is this going to go very, very wrong very quickly?
Pause.
No, that's not how you do it.
Oh.
I mean, you're saying pause now, fine. But in this recording, it sounds a little like it's going to fall off the edge.
Oh, boy. It does not. I can
Thank
tell
God.
you that.
Thank God.
So nobody get Arielle into this.
Well, I got the ul from Arielle.
I thought you guys had from moral.
I got it from Arielle, but it just turned out to be
More Arielle compass.
Mayor.
Just gotta power through this. This is a lot of this.
You want to call her Mayor Compass?
No. I mean, it would be a compliment in a way because she has a strong moral compass.
Yeah,
so
but
Mayor
no,
Compass.
I don't think most people know what that means. Why are these people calling you Mayor Compass?
Because I have a strong moral compass.
No, that's an excellent DJ name, though. You know?
No, it's not.
DJ Mayor Compass coming out.
No one would listen to
Arielle
that.
used to do that was,
She did. Well, but she still does radio.
Oh, at the point. Pause.
I quit.
More on that on our Patreon. What did that make it into this? I don't. We talked also at length before we even recorded, so I don't know if that actually was in the actual Patreon. Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
It was because
we were recording at that
We thought
time,
we were
I
going
think
to
it
ruin
was.
our careers.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's still true.
Great.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. You worked with her in radio, is what I was trying
Very
to say.
briefly, yeah.
So that's what I was doing that callback to. I forgot to set the clock.
Oh yes. Oh sorry. Let's set the clock for
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh boy.
Oh,
5 more minutes of this.
I would have said 6.
Oh.
5 minutes.
No, Cade. Pass Cade.
We're trying to keep
Wrong
all these
answer.
under 10 minutes.
Yes, we
Okay.
want this to be a really good discussion, but we do need a ticking time bomb.
Only 10 minutes we said.
We haven't ran it all out just yet. We've really come up with one that's
Probably
hitting
boost
and
that
just stuck
audio a
with
bit,
it
I think.
so far.
Mayor Compass, what we have so far. And I don't think she'll accept that one.
No, she will not. I'm just gonna say she will not accept that one.
Oh. Would you have accepted that?
Wait, I have to decide on more than one nickname?
No, you don't. It's just the one at the end. But let's power through. Let's power through. We'll power through. There's 5 minutes of
What if
this.
she did? What if she did?
Mayor, how would you spell Mayor Compass?
like you wear just. You know what? Like you would Ariel.
That's not spelled anything like that.
Well, Mayor is Mayor. Ariel.
Mayor? Oh, mayor.
Mayor.
I thought you were saying mayor.
That is what I said.
Mare.
No,
That would have been a lot worse.
Mayor.
Yeah.
That's nothing like Ariel.
Horse compass.
Mayor Compass?
Yeah, because she's the mayor.
I would like to point out, Cade was like, Mayor Compass, okay, but then as soon as it was Mayor Compass, he's like, no.
He's like, wait a minute. What are you saying?
So I just want to put that out.
I would not have accepted Mayor Compass.
Mayor or mayor?
Mayor or mayor. Definitely wouldn't have accepted female horse compass or municipal government compass.
But it's a compliment, you know.
And it depends on who you are. I work for the mayor's office.
Oh, that's right. You did do that too.
Yeah. I've had a lot of jobs.
Oh, boy.
Of like the moral compass. I don't know. Look,
Okay.
I'm just throwing stuff in the dark. It's not golden.
We have stuck too long on this. Let's move on. Okay, Ariel. Let's break down her name.
Eel.
Ariel. Okay,
Eel.
we are running on.
Eel.
Yeah.
Eel.
I'm sure some call her Ari. I'm sure some call her L.
Pause it.
Ari, maybe.
Even call you that?
Some of my aunts call me Airy.
Mm-hmm.
No one calls me Elle. I did have an ex that called me Ellie, but he was a fucking idiot. So it was so dumb. I was like, I'm only letting you do this because we're together.
Great.
But yeah,
So we didn't go for the low hanging fruit there. And as I know where it ends up, we definitely did not go for the easy one, the simple one that makes sense.
Eel. I like eel. You know what? No, eel. Like an
Eel?
electric eel.
like ill.
Because she's shocking to behold.
She's what?
Shocking to behold.
Shocking to behold.
You know, that's a good thing, right?
I don't know what you're saying.
You know, it's like whenever you're like in awe of someone. It's shocking to behold, right?
Shocking to behold.
Right? That's it. Shocking to behold. That's
not
not
a
a
phrase.
sentence.
That's not a thing.
Is that not a phrase?
No.
Hold on.
No, that's not a thing. No one is like, oh God, I hope someone thinks that I'm shocking to behold.
That's so a phrase. Can we ask Google?
Ask Google, yeah.
How do we word this?
Hey Google, what is shocking to behold?
Something, please.
It's not even.
She's confused.
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Exactly.
But I found something related.
Oh,
Do you want to know what does it mean to behold something?
Sure.
Forgot to have.
I think they heard it outside of the other mic.
On the website merriam-webster.com, they say, 1. To perceive through sight or apprehension. 2. To gaze upon. Observe it was a pleasure to behold the beauty of the sunset.
A pleasure
The enormous
to behold
crowd
is
was a
phrase.
sight to behold. Intransitive
sight to
verb,
behold.
used in the imperative especially to call attention.
Maybe it was
Alex, it's not like necessarily a good thing. No one just like wants to be shocking to behold. That can mean so many. Like shocking is typically like it's not like pleasantly surprised. It's more like, what the fuck am I looking at?
You know, when you break it down,
What?
maybe it's not so good. But at the time,
Sorry, so I just remembered you're saying trying to make an electric eel, aren't you, or something like that?
Which is like a Little Mermaid reference. So I guess I can appreciate that, but like not necessarily on my side of the war.
I'm going to be honest. Shocking to behold, I really thought was a phrase.
No.
Go ahead.
Striking. Maybe it is just a striking. Huh.
Shocking to. I'm currently googling this.
This is wasting our time.
You're questioning me. Shocking. High quality.
Oh, we did this 2 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, I stand by what I said. Shocking to behold. An eel. What can we do with eel?
I mean, obviously, electric eel. I don't think this is a good one.
Reiterate.
She's okay.
Passion eel.
She's
Poseidon. Poseidon.
You know what? Yeah, Poseidon.
You really writing that one down?
I'm putting Poseidon down.
Oh, okay.
Possibility.
We have 2.5 minutes.
Oh boy.
3 minutes.
Okay.
We have 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay. More. We need.
I want to keep with ill.
Ill?
I don't know why.
Ill. What can we? What passionil? You know, passionil. You know, like or what did you say earlier? How did you describe her? I say compassionate, moral compass, Moriel. That's a Pokemon.
Is it?
It's Mariel.
I think it's Meryl.
It's too close to there's a Marie.
Muriel?
That doesn't matter. We're not calling her Marie.
We are running out of time. She's a really good friend of ours.
Friend Arielle.
That was our backup, as always, is just saying friend in their name.
That's a callback. Arielle, I'm sure you have not listened to all of our other podcasts. I don't even know if they're publicly available at this point, but
they're not. But you would have otherwise.
We don't have time to explain this.
We have 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay. She's a really good friend of ours. She's a really good friend.
Compassionate.
She's always there for us. She is always there for us.
I am.
Her conversations are.
I am.
That's a good. I think when you are there at the time,
that actually was pretty accurate.
I think when we call upon you, you are there. You know, but I think that we're. You know, I don't know. We don't hang out as much as we probably should.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's accurate, and the fact that we hang out only to do a podcast.
To be fair, before I went to Disney, Arielle did say, we need to hang out before you go down there because you might see something racist.
I did say that.
She did say that.
Which we did. We had a meeting essentially of talking you through how not to be racist in Florida.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Where were we?
We were at 918 Coffee. We'll give a shout out. It's the best place to go to have a conversation about how not to be racist.
Yes, there are also a lot of Christian people there playing board games on certain nights.
Yeah.
Just roll your eyes. Yeah.
You know that, but not bad.
You guys had a
bad
profound
coffee.
impact on me.
Not bad coffee. Sorry. You could have. Yeah, that's
a
mature
Christianity. Are you a Christian?
I'm religious.
Who says that nowadays?
Well, so the reason I don't identify straight as Christian anymore is just because there's a lot of problems there.
Oh yeah, I have a whole podcast about this that will never air, but yeah.
Well, you were supposed to have a podcast, right, with a bunch of people about
spirituality. Yeah, it was actually pretty dope. I just hate editing, so it's never going to see the light of day.
But I know, I knew that Andrew said he did it.
Yeah, he was a really, really great guest.
You could give it to Cade and have Cade edit it.
Sure. Thank you, Cade.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. It was just a very different time in my life. I had just gone through a spiritual awakening, so many spiritual awakenings, and I had dabbled in tarot. I'm really into astrology, and I had all of these things. I saw a medium during that time. I got to speak with my dead grandmother. My partner got to speak with somebody who passed away in her life. So all of these things happened. I also had something really traumatic happen. But anyway, it was just an interesting time in my life. And so I wanted to do something about spirituality and spiritual awakening, and only to come full circle and be I prefer things to be simple when it comes to spirituality.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, working on you've had a lot of different projects that you'll work on, and it seems to be a lot of your projects are very much for you in that moment, it's about, and as soon as that moment leaves, you'll move on to something else and everything. And I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that. Now, this is the first time I feel like I've landed. So and I know we have to finish a little bit. to see whatever might make.
We're delaying the inevitable here.
Yes. But it's been something that I really have disliked about myself for a long time. So like the best comparison I have girlfriends. Like I've met the love of my life. I'm with this person forever. Like it's my soulmate. And I have a lot of friends who are single, who are hoping to meet their person. And so like year after year, day after day, they're like, is this going to be the day that I meet the love of my life? And I can just settle this and like be done with this part. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have as much trouble in that area. But when it came to finding my purpose and my path, I felt I was laboring in very much the same way. Like, is this going to be the year that I figure out what I want to do? Because I was so sick of starting over. And it really has been. You
talked a bit about, sorry to interrupt, but that like it was a challenge for you, and I hope this is okay, but like you never like had that thing that like a lot of people do of like, this is what you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you've been trying to find that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm envious of people like you who are like, I love film. I've always wanted to do film. I guess Alex's is acting.
Or it's, well.
We'll get into that in a moment. Because I have a follow-up for you after
we finish this great segment.
Okay, so let's finish Lil Nicky and we'll come back to this very serious conversation.
Great.
When I get my nickname.
Because I do have a big follow-up for you because yeah. All right, back to Lil Nicky.
Oh,
2 minutes of this, Jesus. Poseidon.
The best conversations ever.
I totally interrupted you. I thought you were done. I'm so sorry.
The best conversations ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if it talks.
They're stoking. They're what is it? Whenever it strikes in your mind,
They're what?
whenever like
engaging.
Engaging.
They're shocking to behold.
Gage.
Oh boy.
Gage.
Ingle.
Why is he leading this?
Just like we read that down. Okay. How would you describe Arielle?
I like I said, compassionate, strong moral compass, like really just kind and sweet.
Kind Arielle.
Arielle.
Kindle could have been.
Yeah.
Arielle.
I like ill.
Back to ill.
Kindle. Why didn't you just say that?
Yeah, that seems like that would have been. That was right there. That was right there.
Yeah.
Kindle.
I just
I would have accepted that.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well.
What the hell did you come up with instead?
I think I might know now that I've been hearing these talk, but I'm not 100% sure.
You don't remember.
I don't.
This is 2 years ago. He has not known anything about this for 2 years, except there was a reference in Debbie's episode. Because there's a reference. Because Debbie's after yours, but there's a reference. Okay, go ahead.
No one
Yield.
You want to yield your time to Arielle?
Oh,
yield. Oh boy, we have a minute left.
Okay. I feel really bad about this. I mean, part of it is that I know she's going to hate every single answer. So there's that aspect of it.
What if we came up with a really good one, though?
In a minute? Okay.
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. So Arielle.
There's something there, I think. With it. As a basis.
I came up with that. Continue with it.
I came up with real.
Real. She's real.
I think Mayor Poseidon. We have
Mayor
10
Poseidon.
seconds.
Real. We have failed miserably at this, and I'm sorry,
I
Arielle.
don't like Mayor Poseidon.
Okay, so we got Mayor Compass or Poseidon.
Mayor Compass or Mayor Poseidon? Mayor Compass.
I think just Poseidon sounds pretty great.
But Mayor Compass is okay. I've stopped the clock.
Okay,
we have to choose between these two.
Yes.
we failed you. That's all I will say. Yours is the hardest.
Everyone else is this bad?
No, it's a reoccurring thing in future episodes of how I think we failed you on this. There's references. Everyone else is. It goes a little bit. To be fair, this was like one of our first ones.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So between Mayor Compass and Poseidon.
Well, let's see what we land up at.
Mayor Compass or Poseidon.
Are we allowed to pitch two nicknames, or do we have to settle on one?
She has to accept or decline our Lil Nicky.
That's the rules.
So we have to come down to one. Mayor Compass. Gosh dang. Mayor Compass or Poseidon.
Do we do?
Why can't a woman be Poseidon? You know?
Yeah. Why can't a woman be Poseidon? That's the big question of our time. But do you think that Arielle could be the god of water, the Greek god of water.
Why not?
Yes.
Okay. I think so too. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're gonna pitch.
I don't even know how we came up with Poseidon, but and I think it was you.
It was. It definitely was somehow. All right, Poseidon.
Poseidon. Okay, Arielle, your new Little Nicky is Poseidon. Arielle, do you accept or decline your Lil Nicky?
I'm so sorry, Arielle.
Is there a drum roll thing that's gonna?
We got a rim shot.
That is not the same thing.
Drum noise.
Hey, what did you call it?
A rim shot. It's called rim shot on the board. Rim shot.
I think that's actually is what they're called.
It's a little pornographic, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, not the only podcast where we've mentioned porn. I thought that would elicit more reaction, and it didn't. So you both just stared at me in utter just. I really thought that would bring more. Stay tuned for future podcasts.
If it was good, if Cade was gonna pick it up, because I wasn't. I mean, I don't mind porn. I haven't watched it in a long time. I used to watch porn.
It was. You want to explain it? Well, we can't because it's a future episode.
Yeah, it's a future episode.
It's not particularly anything that we
didn't really talk much about it.
Please tell me it wasn't Andrew. That's
No,
all I
it
need
was-
to know.
No.
It was. I guess we could say who it was with. It was with a member of our movie.
Yeah, Ribbon. It was. We
It was
talked.
an actor that you've worked alongside. It's okay. What can you say?
It was Joseph before.
Before
I
you
don't
thought it was
even
Hannah
remember
or
who that
Debbie.
is.
Yeah. Connor. She worked with
Is he the long-haired one or the
Michael.
short-haired one?
the long-haired one. The one who played the brother. Do you remember the plot at all about this?
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes.
Yeah, he played the brother.
Joseph. Yeah, we talked.
I'm not gonna lie. I suspected it was him.
You didn't think it was?
I didn't like out of the two of them. He was my first choice for the porn conversation.
It
I
could
was
have been
like,
Debbie. You worked with Debbie as well.
well, I mean, hey,
yeah.
do your thing, girl. Do I accept my little? I actually love it.
Oh,
I really love it. You did not fail because I'm a Pisces and I'm a water sign, and the thought of being a water god, goddess, or whatever is like something I embrace anyway.
okay.
So yeah, I think you guys did great.
Oh wow. Oh, see,
Wow.
we just. Oh wow, even the audience thinks so. Yeah.
Wow.
So well, that worked out really great.
It did.
I was very nervous. We went with Mayor Compass.
Oh my god, I would have been like, fuck no.
Sorry, Mayor Compass. I got it. Mayor.
Are they gonna let you
Mayor.
play this on YouTube since I'm saying so many bad words?
Might not get monetized.
Well,
but
you know, a weird thing about YouTube is like you can't in the first 3 minutes. It has to be. I don't know why that is the rule, but that is literally the rule. Is
Don't
that
you think they should change that? I mean, like kids are on TikTok,
yeah,
oh God, yeah.
and worse.
which I've heard is like in Pornhub, in RedTube, in XXXXXX.
Is that an actual one?
I have no idea.
Oh, I was like,
It's funny though that you knew the other two were actual ones.
yeah, I was a male through middle school. Yeah.
You were watching porn in middle school?
Yeah. Yep.
I waited till I was an adult, like good people.
It was not the greatest stage of my life.
I have one question. So, did you see it for the first time by yourself, or were you with friends?
So it was actually via a friend.
Yeah.
It was because of a different friend. But also then this is actually discussed with Joseph. I was tricked by some like, so
Wait,
I
this
did,
was your first. That was your first thing.
no, that was probably one of my earlier times, but I was actually tricked into going to like a bad site. Cause I did a lot of online gaming. And so it's like these grown men, probably in their like 20s or 30s, were like, hey, we'll let you play with us if you go to the site. So I went to the site, and then there was porn. I was like, oh my God.
Did you keep watching it after that?
No, I immediately exited out.
Well, it was.
How old were you?
I was probably like, 10, 11, 12. But then also like whenever I was like 10, 11, 12, a friend, like a different friend showed me like porn. And so
was that your introduction to sex?
I think, I mean, other than like the basic sex that they gave in like school. Yeah, basically.
Well, hopefully were they talking to you at about like 11 and 12?
In fifth grade, they just did the typical like, okay, your body's changing. And then
they don't, at least for the girls. I remember we had this video that was like just around the corner. And it was like, your period is just around the corner. I'm not exact. I hope I can find, if I can find that, insert a clip if you can find it. Like, it's a real thing.
I'm not going to go searching for that, but you can, if you send me the clip, I can insert it.
So yeah, but they really didn't. They were just like, you're going to grow pubic hair and boobs and like get your period. And then they gave us like a tampon and a pad and we're just like, good luck in middle school.
Oh God.
Yeah.
For us, it was just like your body's changing. But I had very bad, like I have anxiety, especially with medical stuff. And so I actually didn't pay attention because for whatever reason, it made me anxious. And so I did not really pay attention to the video.
Well, it's fear of change. I guess.
Yeah.
It was kind of terrifying.
It was terrifying. It's like a horror movie. It's like a body horror. Like, you're going to, turn into some grotesque thing. Yeah.
Yes.
And then, like 6th and 7th grade, the science books had like the different like male and female anatomy. And so the middle schooler in my class would be like, hey, page 651 has the boobs or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
No, I get that being like, yeah.
Did that happen whenever like where you were Arielle? Like did people have like, this is the page in the science book that has.
Yes, but I don't remember. I mean, I guess I didn't really pay attention to the boobs. I probably was looking at the penis, but like I'd also seen those before. So I don't know. I wasn't really fascinated. Not like on an actual, like I wasn't sexually active until I was much older. I'm not just saying that for this. Like it's actually true. Otherwise I would just admit it because that's just the kind of person I am. I do not support people who wait till marriage to have sex. Okay.
You're very open.
Try it before you buy it. So yeah, but I don't remember being super fascinated. I was like very religious at that time. So it's funny because that's what took me so long to figure out that I was queer. Like there were so many signs, but I didn't catch any of them just because like sexuality was not supposed to be a part of anything on my brain. So I wasn't really trying to think about boys or girls. And so I think that's what took me so long to figure out like, hey, I really like women are it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So yeah. When did you see porn for the first time, and were you alone?
Yeah, I don't think I think there was only one situation that I recall of being like around like people, and there was like I think it was like some party, and there was a thing. I never saw it, but there were people that were like. But that's the only time that I remember ever being in a group in which that was. I don't know. I still find it odd to discuss that with people that I'm friends with.
So no, like most guys that I talk to, they all were introduced to it with a friend, and they watched it together, which I've always thought is kind of homoerotic. But like,
it's very weird because I think it comes from like one of them has an older sibling, and then that person shares it, and then it kind of just like spreads. Is how like I feel like it just like. Because what middle school boy just finds that?
I mean, they can now.
That's true. It's, I guess this was mid 2000s. And so, I don't know, early internet.
Well, this took a turn.
No, I mean, but it's...
And that's been Lil Nicky. I realized we didn't do the music outro yet.
That was a great. It's a pretty. I think one of our longest segments because it was filled with things that weren't the segment.
So for anyone who was looking just for the Lil Nicky bit, they're going to have quite. But no, we can.
They'll forgive you because this is the first episode.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah,
we definitely. Haven't done it before. No. But no, so yeah, it's very interesting how just like things went but now like on TikTok, and then just like the different websites and just like there's things on there, or Twitter. You can just
anywhere.
And some websites do have where you have to like turn off NSFW, or they just have like, you know, like, hey, some like Twitter has this might contain inappropriate things, and then you have to press show more. And so usually it's just like bad language or something.
I mean, but what do we think about the fact that like, I mean, like, so everyone has access to the internet from like a young age. And so there are certain things that are, but like, shouldn't there be more places that are like, okay, isn't it odd that Instagram, you can't have any like nudity isn't allowed? Is that weird? Do you think that's odd?
I mean, I don't think it's technically, I don't think it's allowed on TikTok either.
You're saying like you can only see it on something like a porn website.
Yes. Oh, yes. And then there's also like Twitter, you can, but like, and so like people know that Twitter, you can do that, but Twitter's like also not just exclusively, it's other things. Like, and it's weird that isn't like exclusively known for that when it allows it, when other things are like OnlyFans is known for just being that, even though it's a platform just like anything else. It can be used for other subscription services. There's nothing inherently about the platform that would...
Speaking of, subscribe to the Cade Friends
OnlyFans account?
No, we do not have one.
But it would essentially be like Patreon. It's essentially Patreon. I mean, just as a platform, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But
do not know.
I do think it's odd because I don't know, but you know, American society is so like protective when it comes to sex, but also not really.
But isn't it like, I mean, I know it is. I'll phrase it as a question so you guys can answer it. But it like men can be topless on like Instagram, but women can't. That's weird, right? That's not shouldn't be the case.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think all women should get to be topless on Instagram. Except for my girlfriend.
I find that bizarre that we have these lines of like, that's the case. I mean, okay, whatever. Genitals, no, whatever. You make that sort of line, fine. But like anyone should be, what's the difference between, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's
I
weird.
think that like nudity can be really, I don't even like this word, but it can be really tasteful and beautiful. And I just feel like in the spaces that you do see it, it's very raunchy, which is nothing wrong with that. Like,
yeah,
everybody needs that sometimes, but there's not equal representation of it.
But like art that would have existed in like the Renaissance era, if it was put out on any platform today, it would be right. You couldn't do it. But that art can be posted because like that for some reason, because it's known and ubiquitous and everyone knows that. That's okay. You could post a picture of the Statue of David, but if you made a Statue of David today and did that you couldn't post that.
Yeah. We all know that the rules make no sense. like the sooner you figure that out and you stop following them, the happier you'll be.
Yeah.
Anarchy.
It's topple everything from the ashes.
Topless everything.
I was just getting ready to go. That's funny.
Great. Do we want to talk about our radio show, our failed radio show? We teased that.
Yes.
Yeah. Hang on. So there was something we were talking about earlier that we
that's being put on the back burner again.
Well, I feel like we should finish what we were talking about earlier, right?
With what?
Oh boy, what were we talking about?
Great.
It was in the middle of Lil Nicky though,
and then you stopped the train of what we were going to go.
It was very profound because I think I was like,
the purpose thing?
Oh, the purpose. Yes, purpose.
Where was I? I mean,
well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So when you knew me, I was like, I have a purpose. I have sense. I have no idea what I'm doing. Hence my living Ohio, Florida, Utah, Ohio, Oklahoma thing. How did you find your purpose? And how did you know it was your purpose?
Jeez.
And what's your
He's gunning for the host seat. That's a thoughtful question.
What's your advice?
It was very intentional. So just a little bit of backstory, something that I started doing 3 or 4 years ago. At the beginning of every year, I choose a word. Like I did this before everyone else started doing it.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. So for New Year's, I choose a word for the year, and I also do a magic ritual. So I did the same thing. So was that 2020? No, 2021. I chose purpose for my word for the year because I really wanted to manifest that. And so I did a ritual in which me and my girlfriend were like in a cabin in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas, which was terrifying. We like on the way out, we saw a sign that said White Pride Radio. But anyway, that's not the point of this story. So I wrote down purpose on a piece of paper. And I told her to hide it somewhere in the cabin. This was like counting down to midnight to bringing in the new year, because that's what I always do with my rituals. And I said, I want you to play the role of the universe. And after you hide it, I need you to tell me if I'm getting hotter or if I'm getting colder. And so I did that. And then I eventually found it very quickly. And kind of like I was mentioning earlier, like everybody, all of my friends are sort of waiting on this like serendipitous moment of meeting their person. And I was wanting that same sort of serendipitous moment to meet my purpose and not my person, because I had met my person. And just, I can't tell you exactly when it hit me, but it was an epiphany. Like everything sort of aligned. And I realized that the thing that I've always been good at, and you two have actually already mentioned this, is asking questions, like really thought-provoking questions. And I don't just do that with other people. I also ask myself questions, and it's been huge for my self-development and building a life that makes me happy, and building a life that, you know, I know what my values are. Like I know I value freedom, I value love, I value adventure. But I know that because I've asked myself specific questions, which led me to be like, okay, I really want to do self-discovery and self-development, because I don't want to be the only person who is basically living a life of their dreams. Like, I feel like I have woken up from the lie that you have to live this very mediocre experience and you have no control over how your life turns out. I think that we get sold, like a lot of people get sold that they're under the illusion that their life is happening to them instead of they're choosing the life that they create. And so I realized that I wanted to help people unveil that illusion. And it's not something, it's like the answer sort of has always been there, but I really had to dig deep for it. And I feel like, as Cade mentioned earlier, I've kind of always like been on one project and then moved on to the next thing. Well, sort of like when I did that ritual, really what I've been doing is playing that hot and cold game this entire time. Like, oh, I'm getting warmer, I'm getting colder, I'm getting warmer. So like radio, like, ooh, I really like communication, but I don't really like production. I don't really like editing. Life coaching, ooh, I really like having meaningful conversations with people. But after these conversations, I feel drained. So I've sort of just been playing hot and cold and just allowing myself the freedom to change and stop judging myself for every time I start over. And then here I am.
I relate to that here recently. Cause like whenever I went to college, I was very much like, let's do, you know, radio, TV. And I was like, I want to be an actor. I want to do this stuff. And then, as like I was doing college, once we got to the like research papers and having to do all that stuff, which we have phenomenal professors, but I hate writing papers. I hate research papers. I hate research. I understand why we need it. It's great. You should absolutely research. But if I'm not interested in the topic, I just struggle to research it.
Right.
And so I really have to just find that thing, and I have to like, and the passion will only hit me for like a day or a week at most, whenever I'm like, okay, and I want to research this thing. And so I really struggle doing those research papers. And it's a blessing that I at all passed any of those classes. And so whenever I went to Disney, that's when I was like, okay, I really enjoy this interacting with the guest, interacting with people. And because I went from radio, TV to theater, because I started acting more, and I was like, okay, this is more what I want to do. And then I went to Disney, and it was more, okay, I'm enjoying interacting with people. Like let's see where that goes. And that took me to Ohio. Continued kind of moving into guest services type stuff. Then I went to Utah. I was a driver kind of thing. And so I feel like I'm getting warmer. And so just like every year I've gotten like a little more closer, and just like kind of, you know, all within the realm of communications.
Yep.
But just like, you know, it's just like, is it the guest services? But then like this past year, I've really learned that I enjoyed, like kind of planning events and like kind of just like, standing, not so much standing up, but just kind of being like the voice for, because I was a supervisor, kind of being a voice for the associates and planning for the associates, and be like, okay, well, you know, this is something that they're talking about that they don't like. Why are we doing it like this? Mm-hmm. And then also being like, you know what, let's have this fun day. Let's do more for them. Let's value them. And so I've started to move like closer still to like, maybe I want to do more activities type stuff. And so it's, you know, I don't think I'm hot yet, but it's definitely been like like you said, I relate very much to that just because like I feel like I'm getting warmer. And so it's like, it's nice to hear that it's just like, you're getting warmer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the issue that a lot of us have, one is just social media. Like I just wrote a blog post about this. I'm in the middle of like building my website. And it used to be so hard for me to get on Facebook. Like I just felt like everybody else knew what they were doing and I was just like flailing all the time. And then I had people like Cade or like my ex-boyfriend Zach who were just like film, music, like this is my thing. And I'd be like, fuck, like when am I gonna find my thing? Like why? Because you feel like you're falling behind. Everybody else is like consistently like stacking those bricks to build the like house that they want to live in, their dreams. And you're just like, here's a brick. Nope, I don't want to use that one. Here's a brick. Nope, I don't. And it's like, I'm fucking getting nowhere. But what I realize now is like, so one of the things I say in my blog post is like, you're always trying to find your path, but like, you're already on it. Like you're on it right now, like doing all of these different things, moving to all of these different places. And you may not do it in the same amount of time that maybe Cade or Zach or like me or anybody is going to do it. But like somehow, some way, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be. Like one of my favorite books is The Alchemist. And I think it says when you have a dream or a personal legend, all of the universe conspires into helping you achieve it. And I like have held on to that since I listened to that book. And I find it to be true because like there are so many different things that led me to where I am right now. Even like me saying that I want to go into speaking. I had a really like horrible public speaking thing that like made me be like, I'm never doing it again. But I can remember being at TCC before I even attended RSU, like being in the car, imagining myself on stage, giving like motivational talks to audiences. And now that's closer than it's ever been. And I got derailed for a little while because I had a bad experience with it. But working with you two on film, like I know this to be true my entire life. I really love communications. I really love performance. Like I enjoy it. And so speaking kind of like puts those two things together. Now I'm saying this year, I may be in 2024, like, I don't want to speak. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm cool with that now. But I used to have like so much like pressure on myself. And I think what I found is I'm not alone in it. I meet people like Alex all the time who are just like, hey, Arielle, how do you just like start over? You just seem so confident. I'm just like, I don't know any other way to live. I'm just not willing to live unsatisfied. So if what I'm doing doesn't make me feel alive or complete, I switch it up.
Yeah. I love that because like, because I've there's been times where I would be on Facebook and my old high school friends and people I knew in high school just being like, they're full-fledged nurses or vets or doctors or they're in law school and all this stuff. And they're just like, they're on this path and I'm over here like, I've been flailing around, but just kind of like hearing you say that is very just like motivational. You should look into that.
Maybe I'm on the right track. Cade, you've been pretty quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that I have it all figured out or anything, or like I'm all that. I mean, if I'm building a stack with my house of whatever with the bricks and stuff, it's very possible that this house that I've spent my entire life building, at the end of the day, I'm like, I sit there, I'm 80 years old, I've built this immaculate mansion, and I'll be like, oh, well, that wasn't worth it.
I don't think that that's going to happen to you.
It's a huge fear of mine that I sit there and I've made the most immaculate house, but I'm like, boy, I don't like this at all.
I don't know. I really think the thing to pay attention to is exactly like the moments that you're in while you're in them. And I know everybody's like, stay present. And it's like very zen and new agey right now. However, like, I think we spend a lot of time focusing on when we feel good. I also think we need to spend a lot of time focusing on when we feel bad. Like, I do not thrive in rigid, very structured environments. Like, because I know freedom means a lot to me and I don't want anyone to be able to tell me what to do. I don't want anybody to be able to tell me how much money I can make, how much my time was worth, how I spend my time, when I spend my time. Like all of the sacrifices that I make behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see because I just don't talk about it. Like I've really been on this journey for like 10 years and I wasn't even aware of it because I was so like in the weeds with everything. But all of this has been like a long time in the making. And I'm getting to the point where I'm excited to see what life has for me. You know what I mean? In whatever that looks like. And I'm open to it changing, because if it changes, I know it's because I've chosen for it to change. And that is very empowering to me. So yeah,
I think it's great. I think that, you know, yeah.
I honestly don't think, Cade, you have anything to worry about, because Cade and I talk extensively, and you
that's all we do.
you do a lot of things.
Well, you're in the
and so I get a lot of phone calls from Cade, and it's just like, I have this idea. You have a lot of ideas, and you talk a lot about film. You just started a new
at the time of recording this.
I did not mean to date that. As soon as I said it, I was like, whoops, dated that.
We have a movie review show.
You have a movie review show, and we're now starting this podcast.
It's interesting because there are things like I feel like I have to be 100% sure of my footing before I ever take the step. That's where I kind of envy you guys a little bit, of like, you guys take this plunge seemingly onto these things that like I would never ever take these steps, these huge steps, because I feel like they're not in my path that I have to go down and that I want to go down, or that I feel like that might not be fulfilling. So I'm not going to even like take that step, because I feel like I have this thing that I'm trying to get to as quickly as possible, and it's not coming fast enough. So why do I take the side step? Even if I enjoy it, then it's something else, but I might not enjoy it in the long run. And that's sort of what was always my hesitation about doing this podcast or the movie review thing, is like, is that really what I want to do long term? Because I'm in something for the long haul when I actually do it.
Yeah.
Like, and that is I'm committed to it 110%. And it always annoys me when people aren't committed to something 110% whenever they decide to do things.
I think initially when I start things, I'm all in. Like the people that are closest to me will tell you. And that's why people will give me feedback. Like, you're always so sure of what you're doing. And I'm like, what the hell movie are you watching? Like, I'm trying things, but
by the time in my feeling, by the time they know about it, by the time that it's like a public thing that people know about for my things, because I keep a lot of things private, but by the time that it's out there for everyone, I am sure of it. That is, at this point, by the time that you guys are watching this, I'm sure about this podcast.
I sure hope so. 10 episodes recorded.
And so, but it took a long time, and that's why it wasn't happening for those first few years. It was the pandemic, but also just is this what I want to do? Is this really what I want to, is this going to lead me down a path of actually being happy or not? Or is this going to better do my long-term goals? There's a lot of thought about that before I ever publicly make a step or do anything of that matter. Because, I have a goal that I want to attain, and is this too much of a side venture? But for a while, I was deathly scared of the idea that I was on doing something that wasn't specifically filmmaking or whatever, or doing that path. That I'm like, oh, I don't want to. I was deathly scared of being known for something other than that.
Yeah, I know exactly. You've written about it.
Yes.
You have a script about it.
Yes, and that is a huge fear of mine that for a long time was I do not want to, I would be scared that if I ever made something and it caught on, because whenever I put my all into something, I know it will end up being good. Typically, I have confidence in that. I think this podcast is going to be really good, and I hope that people enjoy it. I hope that's the case. I hate to sound that I think I know that.
Leave a comment below
if this is good, but I'm always that I used to be scared of ever doing anything of that because I don't want to be the podcast guy. I want to be the film guy.
I know exactly what I tried being a tarot reader. And the reason I stopped doing it, and it's not that I'm not good at it. I could read you both tarot cards right now. People are just like, oh my God, you're so gifted. And I'm like, really? This is resonating with you. But I literally saw myself being known for that, and it stopped, even though I started the process. But once people started giving me inquiries, and I was editing a video of myself that I was going to do for zodiac signs, so you can people do that. once I watched that recording of myself, I was like, no. This is not what I want to be known for, even though it's something I can do. So I don't know. Sometimes I think you kind of have to start something. And of course, I think this, right? And then see how you feel about it. But I get it. Like, I don't see you being known for, I mean, you could be known for this podcast, but I think you can be known for both a podcast and for film.
And now there has been avenues opened up in things and people that have, I mean, there's been examples of people who have YouTube channels that have went on to become film directors, famous film, directors and things. And like, it's fascinating that now that sort of idea that you're siloed into things. Well, that was the thing with actors, like you couldn't do TV if you were doing film. Like there used to be in media, these very like, you have your one thing that you're doing. Like that in directors wouldn't do TV. That if you're a film director, you wouldn't go out and make a thing. But now it's all blurred with streaming and with now like self-distributed content, if people do that all the time, and do several different things and they're known, they can be several different things. And hopefully what I want people to know, and I've said this on a few different things, is I want them to know the name Cade Thomas and that it's going to be good content, or good things. Maybe, people have issues with the word content. I don't necessarily have issues with the word content, but it's going to be entertaining in a different way. Like I don't want to continue doing the same things. I made a true crime documentary. I made a feature film that was a comedy. I don't want to do my next film. I don't want it to be a comedy, but it will be have probably comedic elements and stuff. But I want them to think of they don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be quality, I guess is what I hope they get from the brand of myself.
Cade Thomas, quality.
That could be a shirt.
No, we're still. What was the one from earlier?
Just Cade.
I'm just Cade.
Yes, I'm sold on that one. No, I have no doubt that. I mean, I loved everything you've done that I've seen, and listened to. But I think where I really get to see you shine is like when I start reading your scripts, or even when, like Alex said, like you always have an idea for something. Like there was femme noir movie that you and I never like actually finished working on. I hope you do it.
That's a huge, and I've talked to Alex about this. That's one of my favorite ideas that I have, and that's still something that I want to do. And I think if that ever gets made, it will be considered one of my great pieces. But yeah, I have a new thing that I'm hoping to script and write soon. It's another feature.
Do you enjoy writing the scripts?
I don't. See, that's the thing. That's my biggest problem is I enjoy coming up with the ideas. And that's why that is the biggest thing. My biggest hurdle is I have these amazing ideas and I love working them out, and I like trying to be like, okay, structure, it's got to be this, but I make it too complicated, but I want it to be complicated enough that it's interesting, because if it's too basic, I'm not interested in the thing. That's why Ribbon, I think people like, you had to keep it basic once you actually write it, but people are like, themes, like that's an odd theme.
Ribbon was originally supposed to be a
short film.
10-minute short.
And so it was, but it kept like, but I'm not interested unless it has this sort of saying about like the classes, and it has this idea about modern corporate America, and I keep adding these things, and I want these parallel stories where these are opposite, and like, it's like, it's not interesting until it gets all these wrinkles. And so it ended up being like, at the end of the day, a 60-minute, but it was a 70-minute originally.
It seems like it's gotten really good response. How do you feel about that?
About Ribbon's response?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like that. Like I have such a hard time with comedy. I have a very odd thing with comedy. It's like, cause it was before a whole thing of whenever I was writing in when I was an early writer, I felt like everything was so dour in films and everything, and that comedy was something that they sorely lacked, and that everything needed to have comedy. And then now with this Marvel things, and everything's got to be funny, and every character can't be, they can't be serious, or everything has to be undercut by a joke. I kind of don't like it as much anymore. And like, cause everything's also a / comedy movie as well. But then they don't do comedy right. Like, I mean, I'm sure people like commented on Ribbon that like, this is a comedy, but like not like traditional comedy. Like this one, like I think people were often baffled by the type of comedy is, because you don't see that style of comedy. It's a weird comedy thing. It's not like typical setup punchline, you know, and it's like, but it's clever and things. But anyway, my point is I thought I have an issue with the fact that people sort of look at comedy as being disposable, and that like they sort of look at it and they don't think about it sometimes, and they don't think about what the joke's saying. And so people like are like, haha, funny, and laugh, and they move on. And that's my fault for it at some points. But you know, I always hope that like when they watched it that they were like, now what is he saying with that joke?
I did read a review that you posted that seemed to get it.
And there are people that get it, and then the ones who get it, and there are the ones that, and I very much appreciate that, it's at times hard because like, and Ribbon's not a perfect film at all, and I still have a lot of problems with it, and it was like some things hit you over the head with themes, and everyone got that like, oh, it's about opening yourself up, and it's about, you know, and it's like, yeah, that's this level of it, you know, and it's like, yeah, you got that one. And that, of course you get that one. It says it like 87 times in the movie, but there's 17 layers that you're just sort of not scratching. And it could be because I made that one so blatant and repeated and hit you over the head with it, because I wanted at least some themes that were like, people were like, they got it. Like an average person could just get in there and I get it. It's about, you know, optimism versus pessimism. I get it, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but the other themes that are at play are sometimes a lot more subtler, but people, when they're like, oh, but it's just like a comedy, it's just a you know, I listened to one of the things and they really enjoyed it, and they started talking about like what it was saying about homelessness and like about class, and they're like, but I don't think that that's really accurate, because like it's just this comedy film or something. And it's like, you were there, and it's there, but I think people are so conditioned to comedy films being about nothing, being disposable, being these sort of things, that it's just, the point is the laugh, and it's not about characters, and it's not about themes. But I don't know. Part of that is, I will admit, is my fault with certain things of it, you know, because like Ribbon is deceptively bubblegum. I've described it that way. It is deceptively bright and popish and simplistic, and that's the point of it, is to be packaged in this sort of way. Like, the idea is that you can watch it from just a story perspective, and just from that little simple way, and still get it. You understand what the characters are doing, you understand the simplicities of it, but there's a whole other sort of layers that I put in there, and some people have picked up on different things, but other people haven't. And it's fine. I guess at the end of the day, it's you know, I don't, if it was easy to get, then it wouldn't have been fun to do.
Yeah. And don't you think that's like probably the struggle of every filmmaker? Like, I was really trying to say this in like,
and at some point you give up that, like that's a big deal. It's like,
I mean, some people get it, but like mass audiences, like,
yeah,
there's a reason they tell us to dumb down our writing and communications.
Yes. And in my films are like, all of my films, I hope, have those layers. That's the intent. That is my thesis on filmmaking, is the fact that there's a layer up here for just the average film goer, that they understand the story, it makes sense, they completely understand it. But for people who love cinema, who just like dissecting things, that they can sort of understand why, or through different lenses. You know, Ribbon has an interesting meta reading that isn't entirely intentional, that I don't know, I've never seen anyone write about that or thought of anything about that. And I don't want to come out and say some of those things. You know, I want people to sort of discover them. And I have found certain things in different reviews, and it's always nice when people like see things, and like that they see things of like that were somewhat hidden. And some people miss the mark on certain things, but at a certain point, it's no longer my film. And like, that's been a whole thing with Ribbon, as well as a journey of like, it's now in the past, it's now other people's thing, you know? And it's like, and at times I like talking about it, because when you ask it, and I go on this long tangent about it, but it's hard for me to be like, okay, and it's now no longer mine. And it's been a thing. I've talked about Alex at length about Ribbon. He's a producer of Ribbon. He was a producer of Ribbon. And so I've talked about it so much about just different things, but it finally has to be like, that's the past. And I'm trying to do that now, that like I heavily pushed it to people and heavily did that. But now I'm like, okay, I reference it because our friends were in it and our things are that, but I want to work on the next project. I think that's where I want to be. That's going to be a whole thing, because I haven't even scripted it yet, Arielle. I have to script it. I have to film it. I have to get the actors. I got to do the whole thing. I got to step up the filmmaking. I've already got the camera, and the whole thing is just waiting on me to sit there and typity clickety clack the whole thing. And that bothers me.
What's crazy about Cade is so good at writing.
Yes.
But he doesn't like doing it.
Well, I have a similar relationship. My girlfriend always says to me, success is on the other side of the shit that you don't want to do. She says that to me all the time.
That's good.
And I'm just like, fuck.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually probably should be a t-shirt. So, as you could tell, we have long conversations.
Yes.
Wait till this car's passed behind us. We have long conversations, and
but I think the perfect wrap up for us, is the radio show, because we can't just keep delaying that.
Oh, thank
you. Some could also say,
they're still applauding.
But you could also say the radio show. That's the scary.
Yeah.
Or the radio show.
That's probably more accurate.
It is.
So, who wants to take the? Okay, yeah, I don't know. Lay the groundwork, Arielle.
I don't remember actually anything.
Lay the groundwork, Alex.
So, from what I remember, Cade was working at the radio station.
Oh no, you weren't at that point.
Was it?
Well, it might have been her last semester at school.
And you had stopped working. Yes, because that was a whole thing that I was getting paid for, and you guys.
Yes,
weren't.
I was about to say Cade got paid for this, and we did not.
Well, that's news to me. I did not hit that one. I was trying to.
Did you mean?
No.
That's obviously not what she meant.
I meant.
Yeah.
I really think that was.
Great. We probably need to stop with that.
So from what I remember, Cade had an idea for a radio show.
So Arielle and I knew each other from the radio station and from classes and everything. And then Alex hung out with us, and you just saw an hour and a half of how these conversations that we had worked. And we sort of came up with the idea that we were like, we want to do a radio show. We want to do a talk radio show. And the idea, and I don't exactly know whose idea it was or what it sort of was, but we got set on doing this. That it was going to be.
Pretty sure it was Cade's idea.
It was definitely Cade.
I don't know who it was. Could have been anybody's. And we pitched it. It didn't get immediately, I don't think, a love. They were like, okay, we'll see, essentially make a pilot. So we made it. But we were like, you need to have a theme. I believe was the idea that it was a morning show. It was going to be I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday mornings, one of the time. But we weren't going to record it live, right? It's going to be pre-recorded, right?
Right.
Pre-recorded.
It's going to be pre-recorded, but to air in the mornings, like a morning radio show on our college radio thing. And to preface this, they never had a talk show.
Right.
That was the big deal. It's like we were upsetting the
listeners.
Yes. I was going to say, is it upsetting the Applecart?
The balance.
Phrase? Is it?
If shocking to behold isn't a phrase, upsetting the Applecart definitely isn't.
Hey, Google. What is upsetting the Applecart?
On the website dictionary.com, they say, spoil carefully laid plans, as in now don't upset the apple cart by revealing where we're going. To find out more, look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
I get that to look forward to once you guys are gone. So yes, we didn't want to upset the apple cart, as they say.
Very common.
Yes,
That's why we've heard of it.
It's shocking to behold it, really.
But they were like, okay, come up with a theme. And our theme was, we were going to, there was these different segments. We were going to talk about different topical things. Mm-hmm. But we didn't, you remember the title? You remember the title?
No.
The title was TBA Today.
TBA, because it was to be announced today, right?
Announced, and it was going to be all topical things. And the idea was that it was just a talk radio show where we were just going to talk about various things, like we just did today. Some things that were, but like with the airing a little bit more side on the topical, unlike today. So it was going to be whatever was in the news, but also just whatever we were feeling. It was going to be just like, like how we talk. But to be fair, they didn't really know how we talked. And so we went in and we recorded. It was essentially, we would trade off being hosts of the segment, right?
Yes.
And then Alex was always
just there.
He was our special guest. He was a special guest. And now our special guest for this episode, Alex Clare, and he was always the special guest.
Yep. That was the plan.
And
it was a good bit.
Anyone else want to take over the story?
I have no idea.
You're doing a great job.
I
don't want to upset the balance. I don't want to upset the apple cart, Cade.
I feel like I'm like the listeners hearing this for the first time, as if
I remember a lot of this as you're explaining it. But I remember they were not a fan of the special guest, Alex Clare.
Not a fan of Suzanne.
Not a fan of Suzanne.
Remember that at all?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you, there's so many bits here that so essentially we produced the pilot and they were like, no. We produced the whole pilot. I thought it turned out pretty good. They were like, no. Retry it again. Do all, like, they had a few notes. They had several notes. They had several notes. And they were kind of pointed at times, but okay, it was fine. They never done the talk thing and we were, whatever. And we maybe went in a little bit too confidently that we were going to be able to do this and everything. And so we were doing this after this was in our own personal time.
Alex and I were doing it for free. And Cade was doing it while he was at work.
Yes, I was
getting paid to be there.
Yes. And so yes, that was the big thing that sort of came out at the very end of the thing that it's because I was signing the thing and they're like, wait, are you getting paid to do this? I'm like, well, yeah, I work for the radio station. I'm at the radio station producing something for the radio station. Yeah, I'm getting paid for this. You guys are volunteers.
Did you know?
I'm a special guest. So.
Did you know that you were a volunteer?
It was one of those, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, it acts like it was like a plan, but it wasn't. It just worked out that way. But we produced a second one, and then what ended up happening was all the files got corrupted. That was the whole end of that whole thing. And so we produced 2 episodes of it, and neither I don't think either one of them exists anymore because they were corrupted. And it was some exporting error.
I thought we gave up during the second one.
We did.
I wish we would have had a close-up of your face.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of hidden behind my shots here, trying to figure out this. Yeah. So it ended up, but yes, we did end up giving up live on the second one, and then but it was doubled down by the fact that it was corrupted. Yes, you're right. I forgot about that. It was a big whole thing of halfway through, I realized I didn't want to do this anymore. And I think everyone sort of felt that, and then it sort of came out that I was getting paid while all you guys weren't. And there was a mini revolt, and I realized I didn't want to do it. And then the next day, this station manager was like, so how did it go? Where's the thing? And I'm like, we're not doing it. and they were, I think there was a sigh of relief because they, I'm gonna put. I love them both. They kind of killed the dream a little bit by how unenthused they were about it.
Yeah, we got torn apart.
It was particularly, and so like if this podcast does well, it'd be our vindication that this would have been an excellent idea.
And if it doesn't,
then they were right. And I'm sorry.
But also, in hindsight, though, you didn't want to do it. And so it's a good thing he did that. Because if we really wanted to do it, we would have doubled down.
Way to get right in there of because he said, and this is what I remember, it's like, oh, so this show's just you guys just like spouting your opinions for an hour.
Yep.
And I was like,
I remember that.
Oh no. And that sort of stuck with me, and that still sticks with me of like, I didn't want to be that. And I don't want to be that on social media. And that was a big learning lesson for me of like, I don't want to be that in the world. I don't want to be someone who just sits there and just says what they think. I want to create something that sort of like, that's what my films are. That's what these things are. And like, even like this, we're not sitting here saying, here's my opinion on the matter. And I used to be a lot more like that. And I still do that to an extent off the air and different things. But I don't want to be a person who's sitting here like on a platform being like, my opinion's important. It's sacred. Here's what I believe.
Yeah.
Oops.
He doesn't want to be the person they say I used to be, or maybe still am.
Well, I was that too. And I used to sort of think that my opinions were very important and everything, and that people need to hear them and all that. And it's like, but I've seen how other people are like that. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to, that doesn't contribute anything.
Except for their opinion.
Yeah. Yes. And so it's like, create stuff. Don't, tear stuff down, and don't like, or, whatever, make things that are, I would a lot rather be on the side of I'm creating things and people are critiquing it or reviewing it and all that, be on that side of things. I'm putting things out in the world, than to be the person who's sitting there on the sidelines always being like, I like that, I don't like that, here's my thoughts on it. I would a lot rather be the creator in that sort of interaction.
Check out Cade's movie review podcast.
And so that was a big thing that why I didn't ever want to do a movie review thing. But I always sort of ask myself in different ways, what would a Cade Thomas version of this thing be? I hated true crime. I hate true crime as a genre. And it took me everything not to say that to that audience that in Atlanta when I went to the True Crime Film Festival. I hate it. I absolutely hate it as a genre. I'll say it here. It's an absolute atrocious genre that exploits people.
Statistically, our female audience probably doesn't like you saying that.
Okay.
What?
Well, because women tend to like statistically like true crime.
Is it that they like it, or is it that they're most often the victims in those stories, and
they
so
like
they're trying to figure out how to survive? Yeah.
I see myself in this story.
Like I also used to be with someone who tried to kill me.
Yeah.
Might be that, but the viewership like is overwhelming.
But then again, like it's not true crime. I mean, ish like Lifetime. I don't understand that network most of the time.
Well, so my problem with true crime is that they're built on like this, who's the next person that we're exploiting their tragedy. Yeah. And it's like and it's just
trauma porn.
Yes. And it's just constantly like, these are real people at the core of this that you're just like devouring, like you're just taking their life story, and then it's just a nice little thing that you can eat a meal to or just listen while you're doing something else. And it's like they literally went through that. What would you like it if that sort of thing happened to you, and then someone's just doing the laundry while listening how you were brutally murdered?
I've never thought about it that way, and it should be funny. Like I shouldn't be laughing right now, but I agree with you. That is actually horrible.
And I just find that it's sick what these people are doing, and like the fact that it's just all to sell things. Vicky was murdered and tossed in a ditch. Anyways, here's Lay's potato chips. It's this, buy your thing. And it's all just content to sell these ads in between.
Which is why, and we have to wrap this up because I really have to go.
Yes.
Which is why you really love the OJ thing, because pizza scene in it was just like this moment in American history. Like people were just like,
looking at it as entertainment and everything, and that is how Americans view things and all that. And so that's just to wrap that up. That's why, like, I'm like, what would a Cade Thomas true crime thing look like? And it was like, no narration, I made a list of things. This is the things that I don't want. I want to be victim focused, it to be, trying to get, but also there's no point of view from the filmmaker. It's told from the perspectives of 4 people that were heavily involved. There was a list of things that I'm like, what would that look like? And that's why even with my movie review show, I hate those, let's talk about Spider-Man and Batman and all this, these movies, and let's just talk about these and these action figures and what's going to be the thing, and let's theorize it and all that stuff. What would a Cade Thomas movie review show be? And it will be about the love of cinema and talking about that and hanging out with people, having conversations, and then it's just being viewed around cinema. What's some things that I hate about the world of cinema critiquing today? There's this gatekeeping of you haven't seen this movie, you haven't seen the movie. The whole point of this podcast is, we haven't ever seen any of these movies, and it's okay. And it's okay that you haven't seen it. It should be a love of sharing these new things and talking about it with people and having conversations and with people who enjoy that. And so I'm always looking at things when I create it from how are they different. And to that, whenever that person said that, what are you guys just doing? You're shouting your opinions into the void. I'm like, man, that is what we're doing. And I didn't ever take the critique look at that. And that was a big eye-opening experience. So thank you, that person. I don't know if that was profound or not.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah. I was just saying, so long story short, it's a good thing we didn't do but this is a spiritual successor to the radio show almost.
Yeah. And I would love to have you more on this podcast.
Yeah.
You could be a co-host.
You could be,
thank you.
You want to step in and be, do the soundboard like Alex does?
No, thank you.
You're already well versed in it.
That's not my purpose. I'm more than happy to be a guest, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys, but I want no actual responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. So you don't have to do any of the editing for this. It just goes out. That's good.
I just know.
This is live.
No, I mean, I have a lot of, so when I mentioned that I'm going to venture into public speaking as my next career move, my next income stream. Right now, I'm a chief content creator. So I create content for different clients. I have one primary client that pays me well enough to meet all of my living expenses plus some. So anyway, but I just got back from New Jersey. I went to this program called Hero Public Speaking. You have to be nominated for it, then interview with the founders, and then you go to Jersey and spend a couple of days. They're both have their MFA in acting. And I decided to do their grad program basically. So that starts in May. So I'm going to be very, very busy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that starts in May.
Well, congratulations.
And thank you. I'm really excited about it. I think until I went to New Jersey, I forgot how much I love performance. And I didn't realize how much speaking is a performance.
Yeah.
And it was nice to be able to see how you can use the stage and different things like that. So
yes. And I think, I don't know if this was, I'm confused about what was on it, what was on our Patreon thing or what was off air, but we did talk about your performance in Ribbon, and that was constantly a thing that was in reviews that people really enjoyed that. And, I wrote that part for you, and, I think that you really,
you delivered.
You delivered. Yes, you delivered. And that was an interesting role, and I thought that you did such a good job. It's a small role. It's in that, but that was constantly a source of praise on all the things that we did. What do you? Oh, okay. He was waiting for something. I think it was great because you the point. Not to play and talk too much about Ribbon again, because we're not going to do that. But the point is that your character sort of took the air out of our protagonist. And the idea was you were kind of meant to sort of be a counterpoint to being why these people are kind of annoying and why they, and sort of put them in their place in a lot of ways. And I thought that was a really good role for you.
It wasn't really a stretch. It wasn't really a stretch. Mm-hmm. But again, working on those things, when I reflect back over, I really realize that I really do love performance. And the only reason I don't think I pursued acting is because, and I've said this story many times, over the past probably over the past month, but when I was in middle school and I was in high school, none of my teachers ever seemed to have any interest in me when I had such an interest in acting. So that made me just think I didn't have any talent or anything for it. So I was like, okay, I'll just leave this alone. And it wasn't until I got to participate in films of yours that I sort of rekindled that love for it.
Oh, I had that impact there.
Yeah. And then I think, just going to New Jersey and seeing performance and how you can use gestures and the tone of your voice and a stage and all of these things, like it's something clicked. It was like the first time I felt like I belonged, and I was like, holy shit, I was supposed to be a theater kid, but like fucking teachers suck sometimes. Like, I think y'all should get paid more, and not all of y'all are bad. Not all teachers. But
hashtag not all teachers.
Yeah. But I think if that would have been cultivated in me earlier, I would have found a love for it. And it's funny, my grandma saw it in me when I was a really young girl. She was just like, this girl needs to be in movies, because I'm very dramatic. Yeah. I mean, it's just who I am. So anyway.
Yeah. Great. I think that's it. I mean, is there anything you want to plug at all? You kind of plugged some things.
You see, you had a website in development in case this comes out after it's done.
Well, hopefully it's going to be up soon. It's arielledavis.com. So if you really liked the segment where I talked about purpose and self-development and self-discovery and sort of my path and the things that I've learned on my journey, check out the website, because there will be a lot of great content centered around that.
And I'm sure we'll have a link.
Yes,
we'll have a link in the description.
Let me know when this is going to air, because it may not be up. It may be a broken link.
This could all just be one long bleep.
I've got a photo shoot scheduled. Once I get that done, like I've already got the blog content and everything like put in there. My photo shoot's it can't be this week, because I'm going to Seattle, then to San Diego, and then I'll be back for it. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, you are all over the place with things. That's fun.
I have been to. I've been to Chicago. I've been to DC. I've been to West Palm. I have been to Santa Barbara, specifically Montecito. I tried to sneak into Oprah's place. I did not get in. I've been to Denver, Las Vegas, the Bahamas. I've been traveling quite a bit.
Well, if you find yourself in Ohio.
Have I been? I haven't been to Ohio. Wait a minute. No,
Cleveland?
I went to Idaho. I went to Boise, Idaho, not Ohio.
Yeah, if you find yourself in Ohio,
I will definitely hit you up. Like when I know I have a friend in a different city, I always try to plan dinner or something with them. I have a friend that moved to Denver, and I had dinner with him.
I have a great Mexican restaurant in.
It's probably not all that spectacular if I know
I love it. I love their salsa. I love their, something that you told me that I think about every now and then is we once went and got food together, and I got nachos, and you sat there and told me, Alex, never take a girl on a date and get nachos, because that's just like a lot going on. It's very messy. And that I think about that sometimes when I eat nachos. I'm like, thank God I'm not with anyone right now, because I'm like, this is a mess.
You got a lot of tips from Arielle to last a lifetime.
I did.
Cut your hair. Don't order nachos on dates. No one wants to kiss anybody after that until you've been together for like at least 3 months.
Yeah. So, I can attest for Arielle just from my personal experience with her.
Yeah. She's been motivating for you.
Yeah.
She's been a sight to behold, or whatever, or shocking to behold.
And have I been motivating for you, Cade?
Yeah, of course.
What have I motivated you to do?
You've made me sort of think a lot, more introspectively, and I do that, but like it's always nice. I leave all of our conversations finding out something else about myself or something, that I find that,
That's probably the best compliment ever. Sorry, Alex. Yours is okay. That was really beautiful.
Really felt good about myself there. And then Cade took it away.
Sorry. Yeah, I guess that's it. As you can tell, typically we have more segments than this, but we talk for a long time.
We aimed for an hour and we got
Jesus.
So great.
This is going to suck to edit.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Guys.
Peace.
Is that not a phrase?
No.
Hold on.
No, that's not a thing. No one is like, oh God, I hope someone thinks that I'm shocking to behold.